Donald and Melania Trump are a well-known couple, but many details about their relationship remain unclear. Here's what we do know. They met in a New York nightclub, where the businessman encountered the Slovenian model. Despite Donald's outgoing personality and Melania's quieter demeanor, there was a strong attraction between them right away. In 1998, Melania Trump attended the Kit Kat Club in New York City, where an Italian businessman introduced her to Donald Trump. On the show Larry King Live, she mentioned that there was an instant chemistry between them. However, in an interview with the New York Post, Melania's friend Edie Moeller said that Donald was with another woman at the time, so Melania did not show any interest in him. Despite that, Donald was very attracted to her and later told Tatler that he had seen her before on runways, but her beauty still amazed him. Some of Donald Trump's friends warned him not to pursue Melania because they had already tried. However, he kept asking for her phone number. Melania remembered him but didn't give him her number because she was aware of his reputation. She wanted to see what kind of number he would share. Instead of giving her his business number, he gave her his personal one. A few days later she called him, and eventually they got married and had their reception. Donald Trump built a $42 million ballroom at his Mar-a-Lago estate. The ballroom features 24-karat gold moldings, custom crystal chandeliers and marble floors across 100 square feet. Guests included Bill and Hillary Clinton, Billy Joel who performed, Anna Wintour, Heidi Klum, Derek Jeter, and Shaquille O'Neal. Melania, who was 34 at the time, wore a Christian Dior gown with a 13-foot train that cost around $200,000. She was even on the cover of Vogue in that dress. The dress of the year, Melania's engagement ring from Graff Jewelers, cost $75,000, according to the New York Times. At the time, Donald was 58 and completely confident in his third union, as he told People, "If I didn't have a great woman, I would be much more nervous." When Larry King asked Melania if she was apprehensive on Larry King Live, she said, "We know what kind of relationship we have, and I don't think I should be scared of anything." After he married Melania Trump, Donald Trump said he planned on having. In an episode of Larry King Live, a man said that he wouldn't change diapers and praised his new wife, saying she would be a great mother, while he would be a good father, but would focus on his work. Later, after their son Barron Trump was born in 2006, he changed his mind about being involved in parenting, saying he loved feeding the baby because he enjoyed it. Barron grew up in the luxurious Trump Tower in New York City. He had a nursery, a kitchen, a living room, and a space for the nanny. Donald and Melania Trump took steps to protect their son Barron from the media. After Donald became president, Barron had a motorcade that took him to school in Manhattan for the rest of the school year. Melania stayed in New York with him for 6 months before they moved to the White House that summer. Donald Trump believes that his third marriage is really special. Donald Trump was married twice before marrying Melania Trump. His first wife was Ivana Trump, whom he married from 1977 to 1992, and they have 3 children, Donald Jr., Eric, and Ivanka. While still married to Ivana, Donald had a public affair with actress Marla Maples. Their relationship grabbed attention when the New York Post featured a cover about it. Donald later married Maples in 1993, and they had a daughter named Tiffany Trump. Months later, in 1997, Donald Trump and his wife got divorced. Trump is known for being flirtatious, and during his run for president, several women accused him of inappropriate behavior. According to ABC News, Melania Trump stood by her husband and defended him during these controversies. In her first interview after 9 women claimed he had groped them, she told CNN, "I believe my husband. This was all organized by the opposition." Another serious accusation was made when the press started reporting on these claims. It was reported that adult film star Stormy Daniels received money from Donald Trump's lawyer to keep quiet about their affair in 2006, according to CNBC. Daniels mentioned to CBS that she asked Trump about his marriage, and he dismissed her concerns, saying they had separate rooms. There have been several occasions where Donald Trump tried to hold his wife's hand in public, but Melania Trump pulled her hand away. These moments have been widely seen. Many people are questioning if their marriage is in trouble. To show the absence of public displays of affection between Donald Trump and Melania, the Lincoln Project shared a video on Twitter. This video shows moments when Melania didn't hold Donald's hand, along with an awkward moment from Inauguration Day. In that clip, Melania smiles at Donald, but as soon as he turns away, her smile disappears, which caught a lot of attention. The media has suggested that Melania Trump may be unhappy in her marriage. It all started during Donald Trump's inauguration, when Melania was seen frowning widely. Their first dance to the song My Way looked awkward, with both avoiding eye contact. After these moments were broadcast, hashtags like Free Melania and Sad Melania became popular on Twitter. The next day, protesters at the Women's March carried signs that said, "Free Melania." According to Vanity Fair in 2019, CNN reporter Kate Bennett wrote an unauthorized biography called Free Melania. In the book, she describes Melania as a dissatisfied First Lady. Bennett claims that after the Stormy Daniels scandal, Melania purposely traveled alone to the State of the Union address, didn't join Donald on an overseas trip, and wouldn't hold his hand after a flight during his presidency. Trump has mostly stayed out of public political discussions, but she claims to be well-informed and engaged privately. She told Harper's that she is very political in her personal life and is aware of everything happening. Donald has said that he listens to her advice. During an interview with Barbara Walters on ABC News, he mentioned that she suggested he could be less intense sometimes. Melania has also said that the president is not held back by anything. In her speech at the Republican National Convention, Melania Trump stated that her husband is not politically correct and always tells the truth. Over the past 5 years, it's clear he is not a usual politician. Melania even predicted her husband's presidential victory back in 1999, saying he would be president one day, according to the Washington Times. She was right. Now, let's look at how Melania Trump's life has changed with all this recognition. Here are a few reasons. Melania's life changed a lot after she married Donald Trump. Before becoming Melania Trump, she was Melania Kenes, a Slovenian model and girlfriend of a famous New York real estate developer. She wanted to be on the cover of GQ magazine. In fact, before marrying Donald, Melania did a photo shoot on his plane wearing only handcuffs and diamonds. After their marriage, her life was very different, and she no longer just appeared in fashion magazines. Melania appeared on the cover of Vogue in her wedding dress. She moved away from her modeling career to become a New York socialite. According to the New York Times, Mrs. Trump now lives a life similar to many wealthy socialites in New York, Palm Beach, and Paris, the 3 cities she loves most. Melania also took advantage of her marriage to. Before marrying Donald Trump, Melania was already somewhat well known, having worked as a model and appeared on magazine covers. However, after their wedding in January 2005, her fame increased significantly. She later started her own businesses, including a jewelry line called Melania Timepieces and a caviar company named Melania Caviar Complex, C6. She grabbed attention not just for her stunning looks, but also for her noticeable connection with her new husband. According to The New Yorker, Donald seemed pleased with Melania and was acting unusually shy on their wedding day. At that moment, it felt like Melania's future changed forever. Since becoming First Lady, her life has kept changing. The Washington Post mentions that in 2017, she appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair Mexico, which led to some discussion. Blowback given her husband's immigration policies. Everyone knows that the first family is protected by this Secret Service, but after Donald took office, Melania had to adjust to intense protection. According to the Washington Post, she and Donald had a bodyguard before their time in the White House, but the scale of protection drastically escalated. Secret Service members were always by the door, and Melania was worried at the amount of hate her husband had to contend with, speaking about the drastic change in Insider. "I believe Melania is a private person who took time to get used to being in the public eye after Donald was elected. She made it clear that she would not leave Manhattan until their son Barron finished school. Because she was firm about this, her relationship with Donald's friends started to shift." According to the Washington Post, the early weeks of Donald's presidency were filled with disagreements among staff. There were some embarrassing leaks and a travel ban that led to big protests at airports. Some people thought the new president was acting irrationally during press conferences, and they felt chaos was coming. Donald's friends started blaming Melania for staying in New York, saying it was part of the problem. One of Donald's friends, who was also in charge of his inauguration, said Melania would be the end of him, because she was stubborn and should be with her husband. Things got so tense that Melania's relationships with Donald's older children were affected. Things started to change when they allegedly began urging her to spend more time with their father. A presidential run can really disrupt life, and Melania understood this well. When Donald won the election in 2016, Melania wasn't happy about the upcoming changes. An insider revealed that she asked people not to call her First Lady after the election. Melania is said to be someone who plans things carefully. She wanted to do things at her own pace, despite the pressures of the campaign. Even though Melania was familiar with media attention before marrying Donald, after their wedding, her personal and political decisions became the focus of articles. She often dealt with rumors and scandals, including having to address questions about power and illegal activities raised by the Daily Mail. She was accused, along with her old modeling agent, of running an escort service in the 1990s. Due to her marriage to Donald, reporters looked into every part of Melania's past and present. The change in how the media covered Melania upset Donald. In December 2020, he tweeted a claim from Breitbart News saying that the fashion media has ignored the most graceful first lady in American history and hasn't featured her on magazine covers for 4 years before his political career. Melania's life in New York looked glamorous. She lived in a beautiful penthouse in Trump Tower and ate at the best restaurants in Manhattan. But after Donald won the presidency, Trump Tower became a hotspot for protests, leading to much stricter security. According to The Guardian, a no-fly zone was even set up over the building. The days of Melania freely walking on Fifth Avenue were over. She was surrounded by supporters, protesters, police, and the press. Melania wanted to stay in New York for her son's schooling. However, the Washington Post reported that this decision was costly. It created major security issues, and the NYPD said it cost at least $125,000 a day to keep her safe. As Donald transitioned from a TV star to president, Melania's role changed too. Instead of being asked about fashion, people started asking her about immigration policy. According to the Washington Post, former White House press secretary Sean Spicer said that Melania Trump is not very visible but has a strong influence. She doesn't directly tell the president what to do, like hiring or firing people, but she shares her opinions with him, and he values her thoughts. This view was also echoed by former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who noted that Melania carefully chooses when to express her views. She wants to speak confidently, and when she does, the president pays attention. Donald Trump was once a registered Democrat, and some well-known Democratic leaders used to know the Trump family. Believe it or not, Hillary and Bill Clinton went to Donald and Melania's wedding. A representative mentioned in 2015 that Mr. Trump is friends with the Clintons, and they were at his last wedding. He has donated to the Clinton Foundation and supported Mrs. Clinton's Senate campaigns. This raises suspicion, especially since Donald Trump ran for president and won. Things changed a lot, and it's likely that the Clintons no longer support the Trumps. Some believe that having Donald Trump as president would be a big mistake. According to the BBC, Melania was once a small-town girl, the daughter of a car salesman and a designer. She made a change in her life. Melania, who had a career in modeling and glamour, moved to the United States. However, her husband's controversial policies led to some backlash in her home country of Slovenia. In July 2020, a statue of Melania in Slovenia was set on fire, showing that many people didn't like it. The statue was created by an American artist, and the news wasn't good for the First Lady. Brad Downey was set on fire on July 4th, which is Independence Day in the United States. The statue was quickly taken down, but the harm was already done. When you move to a new state or change jobs, it can be hard to stay connected with friends. Melania Trump also faced losses in her friendships, partly because of her marriage to Donald Trump. According to the New York Times, Melania's former close friend, Stephanie Winston Wolkoff, wrote a revealing book titled Melania and Me, which talks about their friendship and Melania's life as the First Lady. Two women, Wolkoff and Melania, became friends after meeting in 2003. Wolkoff even worked as an advisor in the White House. However, their friendship changed in February 2018, when Wolkoff resigned after negative news about her involvement with the inauguration was revealed. In her book, she described Melania as the sister she always wanted, an older sister who was very confident and well-groomed. But later, her feelings changed drastically and she wrote about Melania's deep selfishness. She prefers to stay away from others. Everything in the book is supported by facts. Donald and Melania Trump usually keep their marriage private, but sometimes they show public displays of affection, like hugging at a rally or kissing at a baseball game. These are special moments when they can't help but be close to each other. The year 2016 brought big changes not only for America, but also for the Trump family. Before Donald Trump to win the presidential election, he campaigned hard and attended many rallies before the big night. The first step was to become the presidential nominee. On July 18th, the Trumps were at the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. When Donald spoke, his wife Melania was with him. In her speech, Melania talked about her husband's kindness, saying, "It might not always be noticed, but it is evident to all." There are many pictures of the couple together. While on stage, Melania and Donald Trump shared some affectionate moments, including hugs and a kiss. At one point, Melania waved to the crowd while giving Donald a kiss on the cheek, and he appeared to appreciate the affectionate gesture. Body language expert Patty Wood noted that their public displays of affection at the 2016 Republican National Convention seemed somewhat awkward, saying one of their hugs didn't feel genuine. Despite this, Melania looked happy to be there. In 2009, while at a New York Mets game, Donald showed a lot of affection for his wife, and they had a strong, equal relationship. Just a few years into their marriage, they often attended events together and seemed to have a great time. Donald mentioned on an Oprah Winfrey Show episode in 2011 that they shared a good friendship and a strong relationship. Melania and Donald Trump have a strong friendship and respect for each other, as Melania mentioned to Oprah that being married to her husband requires being smart and independent. She also said Donald supports her in everything she does. Even before she became First Lady, Melania attracted media attention. A piece in New York Magazine pointed out that Melania and Donald seemed to really connect with each other. In 2018, during Donald Trump's presidency, people began to wonder if Melania Trump enjoyed being the First Lady. An unnamed source told Vanity Fair in 2017 that she didn't want the role, and that Trump never expected to win the election. It's still unknown if this was true, as neither Melania nor Trump has confirmed it. Donald responded to the rumors by continuing to appear in public as usual. This included attending a welcoming ceremony for French President Emmanuel Macron on the South Lawn of the White House. During the event, Donald placed his hands on Melania's arms and leaned in for a kiss while she lifted her white hat. However, the hat got in the way, so Donald blew her some kisses instead. In 2004, Melania and Donald were seen happily embracing in a photo. When Melania left Trump Tower in New York, she kissed Donald on the cheek while he smiled at the cameras. The couple was skilled at getting the media's attention. Some people think their body language seems a bit forced, but Melania often looked happy and relaxed during this time. The Trump family has had many dramatic moments, but at times they also show what their relationship might be like away from the spotlight. In 2016, Donald Trump kissed Melania at a campaign rally in Wilmington, North Carolina. He was wearing a white "Make America Great Again" hat. When Melania introduced him, he hugged her, and they shared a kiss as the crowd cheered. They hugged and kissed a few more times, smiling at each other as the supporters celebrated. The two held hands as they walked together at the event. That same year, Melania spoke fondly about her husband at the Republican National Convention. She told the audience that she had been with Donald for 18 years and knew of his love for the country since they first met. No matter what happened, she assured everyone that she and the rest of their family supported him during his political career. If Melania ever felt differently, she didn't show it after he became president. Melania's life was still luxurious, with fancy homes and designer clothes, but she also participated in important events. One such event was in 2018, held in the East Room to honor military wives and mothers. During the event, Donald and Melania stayed close, and at one point he hugged her and gave her a kiss while they smiled at each other. This closeness isn't seen often. Instead of kissing on the lips in public, they chose to give each other a polite kiss on the cheek. Melania, who was hosting the event, shared her thoughts on parenting, saying that raising a child requires a lot of strength, time, patience, and love. When Melania handed the microphone to her husband, he praised her, mentioning that she has become a very popular First Lady. He also noted that being president is not an easy job, regardless of how one sees it. Donald finished his time in the White House surrounded by many challenges. During this period, Melania stood by him. In 2020, they hosted the Republican National Convention in the famous Rose Garden. This summer event was one of their last, and they showed a united front. At one point during the convention, Donald pulled Melania close and gave her a quick kiss while a speaker. Melania praised her husband and said she hopes he will run for president again. She told the crowd that he has created a team with many women in important roles and has made sure that the American people come first. He encourages different opinions and creative thinking. The year was difficult for the Trumps, as both of them tested positive for COVID-19 during the pandemic. Donald faced criticism for his actions during that time. Some have suggested treating the virus by injecting disinfectant. Also, Donald Trump lost the election in November to Joe Biden, despite claiming they were going to win. There are many reasons why Donald and Melania Trump might stay together, but could it just be love? While they sometimes show affection on camera, it often looks stiff, and they rarely kiss on the lips. However, they did host an event together in 2019. At another event for military mothers in the East Room of the White House, Melania wore a tight white dress with decorations, while Donald chose a typical navy suit with a blue and red tie. At one moment, Donald was seen putting his hands on Melania's upper arms, leaning in for a kiss. Some people might see this as a sweet moment, but body language expert Patty Wood explained to Insider that the way he held her arms showed a different kind of interaction. The Trumps were seen enjoying each other's company while at the White House. They were photographed holding hands. When Melania spoke to a group of military mothers, Donald gave her a gentle pat on the back to show support after she thanked them for their service. Once Melania finished her speech, Donald praised her for organizing a lovely event to celebrate America's military mothers. The whole Trump family was present. During Donald's inauguration on January 20, 2017, all of his children joined the newly elected president and first lady in Washington, D.C. Melania wore a beautiful sky blue Ralph Lauren dress with matching gloves for the day. The couple was often seen holding hands and embracing, which seemed sweet. However, body language expert Susan Constantine remarked that, if you didn't know they were married, you might not be able to tell. I don't see any real love or warmth in their marriage. Still, the Trumps tried to show that they were a united couple during Donald's campaign and presidency. At the Liberty inauguration ball, Donald thanked Melania before they danced to My Way by Frank Sinatra. He told the audience, "I want to thank all of our supporters, especially my #1 supporter Melania, for what she has to deal with." This was when Donald Trump became the 45th president. In 2017, when Donald Trump became president of the United States, his third wife, Melania Trump, became the first lady. Because of their prominent political roles, they faced more public attention than ever before. Some of their behavior in public seemed a bit awkward, leaving many Americans curious about the true nature of their relationship. Nicole Moore, a life coach and relationship expert, shared some insights on Melania and Donald's relationship. Donald really feel about each other based on the couple's body language. Her takeaway is pretty stunning. Moore believes that Melania definitely loved Donald at one point, but thinks things may have changed. Moore points to an ABC News interview that Donald and Melania did with Barbara Walters in 2015, noting that Melania's tone and energy changes when Barbara asks her about how she and Donald first met. The body language expert says that she has a genuine smile and her face seems to light up, and she also turns her head and body to Donald. Moore said she feels a connection with him. She lights up when talking about how they first met, showing there was real love then. She believes that love was still there when Donald was running for president. However, things seemed to change once he became president. In a 2015 interview with Barbara Walters, Melania said she was very happy that Donald was running for president. Moore said that even though she encouraged Donald to run for president, Melania's body language tells a different story. She pointed out that when people share something important, they usually face each other and turn their bodies towards one another to show they are connected emotionally. However, Melania and Donald do not do this, which suggests that she might not be genuinely happy about his presidential run. Moore explained that if you pay attention to Melania's behavior, it is clear. When she says she supports her husband, she doesn't get any closer to him. She only turns her head a little and doesn't make eye contact or smile at him. It looks like she's more worried about saying the right thing, and her stiff body shows that. This was in 2015, but a body language expert now says Melania is not being truthful about loving her husband. They believe that her feelings for him faded after he became president. The coach mentioned that Melania's body language shows that the affection she had for her husband when they first met seems to have diminished. At the end of her statement, she has a smile that looks forced, and she nods her head while biting her teeth, which may indicate she is not entirely sincere. This suggests that she feels like she got away with something. She said what you wanted to hear and now wants to move on to another topic. If her love was real, she would have smiled when talking about it. Mo thinks that Melania's feelings for Donald might have gotten less warm, but the life coach believes that the president still truly cares for Melania. Mo pointed out that if you remember their first dance at his inauguration, it shows their connection. In 2017, Donald Trump pulls Melania close at the beginning, which she seems to think means he wants to share the moment with her. He smiles warmly and touches her cheek, indicating he wants to be close to her. However, her body language during the dance suggests otherwise. According to Moore, her gestures during the inauguration show that she has mixed feelings about him, as if the love she once had for him is fading. At the start of Trump's presidency, Melania showed a desire to stay distant from him. She became known for rejecting his attempts to hold her hand. Even when she does hold his hand, her body language shows that she feels separate from him. According to Moore, when they are seen walking or dancing together, Donald takes charge, and Melania appears fine with that. This was just before he was sworn in as the 45th president of the United States. In 2017, Donald Trump and his wife Melania visited the White House to meet Barack and Michelle Obama. When they arrived, the Obamas greeted them at the top of the steps. Donald got out of the SUV and went straight to shake hands, while Melania was left behind. Body language expert Nicole Moore noted in an interview that Donald was focused on himself during this meeting, and didn't pay much attention to Melania. Melania took a deep breath and seemed nervous as she approached Michelle Obama to say hello. Her body language showed she was uncomfortable. Things didn't get better for her when the couples mingled for photos, as Donald stood directly in front of her, prioritizing himself. When they went inside, Donald moved ahead of Melania. He later admitted that he wasn't a great husband. A year into his presidency, Donald and Melania traveled to Palm Beach. In Florida, as they welcomed in 2018 at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump stopped to speak with his wife Melania beside him. Observers noted that they seemed emotionally distant, with no hand-holding or even close contact. One expert mentioned that Melania appeared very uncomfortable and was trying to hide her unease. After Trump's presidency ended in January 2021, Melania has chosen to lead a private life and has not made many public appearances. However, she and Donald did attend a World Series game together in October 2021. While many official photos were taken, one photo showed Melania rolling her eyes while Donald was giving a thumbs up to the crowd. Mo mentioned that this showed Melania's unhappiness at that moment. Melania seemed truly disgusted, and some think she was trying to hide her feelings when she looked down during her eye roll. Also, her quick switch from eye roll to smile made her smile seem fake. In January 2024, Melania's mother Amalia passed away. Both she and Donald attended the funeral in Palm Beach and stood together outside the church for a final farewell. After observing the event, some felt that it appeared as if the couple has created their own way of supporting each other during tough times. Melania stands next to Donald, looking sad, and her eyes move around as if she's trying to hold back tears. She doesn't make eye contact with him or reach for his hand. Melania's body language suggests that she's dealing with her feelings on her own and not looking to Donald for comfort. It seems they don't have a close relationship where they help each other emotionally. Donald and Melania Trump have a unique marriage that has faced scandals and controversies. While they may seem mismatched, some insiders believe they are actually well-suited for each other. The saying, "Opposites attract," applies here. Family friend Philip Block has shared his view that Donald and Melania are very different. He described Melania as gracious, polite, and steady, which contrasts sharply with Donald's personality. Despite their differences, Donald and Melania seem to share some core values. In an interview with GQ, Melania said she feels similar to her husband, pointing out that both he and her father are family-oriented, traditional, and hard-working. She also mentioned that Donald's morals are similar to those of her father Victor Canis. This might be accurate, as both men are known for being driven by their principles. For example, Canis once sued an ex-girlfriend after she filed a claim against him. Both men have dealt with issues related to their taxes and enjoy having nice possessions. As Melania said to GQ, her father appreciates quality, and Donald is known for his extravagant way of living. Mary Jordan mentions that Melania wanted to keep Donald interested, so she read all 17 of the books written about his life to understand why his previous marriages ended. She learned what he liked and made sure to give it to him. Jordan explains that Melania often complimented Donald, had few friends, and Melania Trump came from a small family and was always focused on Donald Trump. She always looked perfect with her hair and makeup done, and was never messy, even when they were briefly separated early in their relationship. According to Jordan, during that time, Melania stayed home and didn't date anyone. A friend of hers said that Melania wanted to show her loyalty to Donald, who would later become her husband. Since he started campaigning for the 2016 election, Donald Trump has been a controversial figure. He is known for making bold statements, many of which have been shown to be false. Despite this, Melania has often backed what he says. For example, he has made unfounded claims about whether former President Barack Obama was born in America. Melania was born outside the US. While Donald received a lot of criticism for his comments, Melania appeared on the Joy Behar show and said that not just Donald, but also American voters, want to see Obama's birth certificate. Joy pointed out that the birth certificate is public and there is a hard copy in Chicago and a digital copy online. In response, Melania repeated her husband's claim, saying they still believe it's important. Melania's strong support for Donald's false claims about his birth suggests that she agrees with some of his more questionable political views, and he is aware of this. According to Mary Jordan, Donald often calls Melania after his speeches or rallies, which seems intentional. In politics, marriage means more than love. It's often a way to gain an advantage. Historically, presidents have found it very difficult to get elected without a spouse. In U.S. history, there have been only two single presidents. One, Grover Cleveland, got married while in office. The other, James Buchanan, was elected in 1857. Because of this, it would not be wise for Donald Trump to separate from Melania while running for office. He was stronger with her support during the 2016 election, where she helped persuade women to vote for him. This could also be important in the 2024 election. People say she advises Donald on how to look more presidential, even warning him not to dance off the stage. She shares her opinions with him. Sometimes he listens, and sometimes he doesn't. It's difficult to know how a divorce might affect Donald's political goals. However, Melania's support in campaigning for him has probably helped him get votes in the past. Couples who face challenges together often stay together. Donald and Melania Trump. This seems to be the case, according to Kate Anderson Brower, an expert on American First Ladies. Presidential couples who faced scandals together often leave the White House with a deeper bond. Speaking to the Sunday Times, Brower explained, when President Nixon resigned, I think brought the Nixons closer together. When you feel like you're under siege, it does make some marriages stronger. Melania is one of the few people who hasn't abandoned Trump. People come out saying lies and not true stuff. Mary Jordan mostly agrees with this view. In her interview with the Sunday Times, she discussed how Melania was angry about Donald Trump's affairs with Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. However, she mentioned that Melania and Donald developed a bond because they both faced criticism. Since Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, there has been a lot of talk about their marriage. A viral video from his inauguration showed Melania smiling, even though there were concerns about their relationship. Donald glanced at her with a frown and then looked away. She often wouldn't hold his hand in public, and they appeared to be living separate lives. When asked about campaigning, he said he chose not to be involved. If Melania were to divorce him, it might be hard for her to share her side of the story. His second wife, Marla Maples, had a prenuptial agreement that included a strict non-disclosure rule. Vanity Fair says that Melania has rules that stop anyone from publishing anything about her marriage, including diaries, letters, stories, or photographs. This suggests that her prenuptial agreement likely has similar rules. So, if someone was hoping to write a book or talk on shows about the marriage after a divorce, they will probably be let down. However, there is an interesting detail that she is said to have updated her prenuptial agreement. According to Mary Jordan from The Washington Post, Melania initially postponed moving to the White House not only to let their son Barron finish school, as she previously stated. She also hoped that this delay would give her more influence during negotiations. Her early offer was not very generous, but by that time she had been married to Donald longer than his previous wives. Jordan reported that Trump's close advisors were very eager for Melania Trump moved in to be a calming presence during the transition after Donald Trump won the presidency. Divorce lawyer Christina Previte told Nikki Swift that she thinks Melania felt she needed to change their agreement after Trump's unexpected win. This included adjustments to their daily lives, like moving to Washington. A big part of Melania's renegotiation focused on ensuring their son Barron had an equal share in things. He grew up in Queens, New York, but moved to Florida permanently in 2019. According to the New York Times, he flew on Air Force One to Florida on January 20, 2021, and landed at his resort, Mar-a-Lago. There was some debate about whether he could live there full-time. In May 2021, Palm Beach officials decided he could stay. He and Melania now regularly visit the Patio restaurant at their golf resort. When they arrive, they receive a standing ovation and applause. However, CNN reported in April 2021 that there are doubts about how much time the former First Lady spends at her husband's residence, Mar-a-Lago. A source told CNN that she does not socialize with people there and seldom interacts with her husband's staff. But when she is seen, she enjoys the attention, just like her husband. While having a meal, she smiles as guests applaud her. Melania usually dines on Dover sole. Diet Coke without ice is a favorite of both the former First Lady and her husband, who had a Diet Coke button in his Oval Office. When he pressed it, a butler would bring him a drink. The former First Lady now spends a lot of her time enjoying spa treatments and in her suite of rooms. She still has her own office and staff, but she no longer has any official responsibilities like many former First Ladies.